Selling the birthright. This story gives us a little illustration of something that I emphasize over and over again, is the fact that the writers of Scripture did not value chronological order as much as those of us in the West do. They like to follow a theme through or follow a subject through until it ends, and then come back and go again. In this story, you have, if you would just read it, you would think that Abraham married Keturah, had 6 children, and then finally at a certain time he dies. And then after that, Rebekah gives birth to twin boys. In actuality, that's not the way it happened. So let's just kind of look at it in a chronological way to kind of keep it straight in our mind. After Sarah dies, Abraham marries Keturah. Some hold that Keturah was actually one of Abraham's concubines, even while Sarah was alive. I don't hold that. She's got plenty of time here to have 6 children. They're married for 37 years, and they have 6 children. The most famous of them all is Midian. When Abraham realized that he was about to die, he sends them into what we think is Saudi Arabia. And Midian settles in that area. We know Midian from a couple of things. When Moses went to Saudi Arabia, he went to the home of Jethro, the priest of the Midianite, marries one of his daughters, Zipporah. Later on, the Midianites become a mighty power in that part of the world, and they invade Israel. And God uses Gideon to chase the Midianites out. They are the children of Abraham, fulfilling the promise that he would be the father of many nations. While Abraham is still alive, and they're having these 6 children, Rebekah gives birth to twin boys. And as I mentioned, they're around for 15 years before Abraham dies. So Abraham has a chance to invest himself in these boys. They definitely knew their grandfather, and he was able to have an influence in their life. Probably told them many stories about his walk with God. The book of Genesis has often been compared as the struggle between brothers. You have Cain and Abel right at the beginning of the book. Then you have Isaac and Ishmael, Jacob and Esau, and finally with Joseph and his 10 brothers. The question comes up about the birthright. Here, Jacob buys the birthright. Later on, he steals the blessing. What's the difference between these two? Well, you have to understand, the birthright had to do with the possessions of that time. The birthright was usually given to the oldest son. He would get double portion of what all the other children got. In this case, since there was just the 2 boys, Esau would have gotten 2/3 of Isaac's property, Jacob getting 1/3. But more important than that, he would be the top dog. He would be the head of the clan. He would be ruler over everything. Everyone would be his servant. It says that Esau despised his birthright. This was not important to him. I think he knew he wasn't going to stick around. Jacob could have this. He was definitely out of there. But the promise was different. Now the promise it dealt with descendants. It was the blessings, it was the promises of Abraham being passed down from one generation to the other. It meant that it was the line of Messiah. And Esau valued that. He wanted the blessing. Well, one last thing is that all this story takes place at a particular spot. Isaac moves his clan to a place called the God Who Sees Me. It's a special spring. In a previous story, Hagar came here, and it was at this spot right here that God, the angel of the Lord, met with her and gave her the promises for her son Ishmael. This is where Isaac is at right now. And so after Abraham dies, Ishmael comes back to the God Who Sees Me. And together, these two men, these half-brothers, old men at this time, take their father, takes them to Hebron, and there they bury the one man who loved them both. Come back when we give you more insights on the story.